So I quit my job a few years ago, and these past few years I've been working for myself, self-employed, making full-time income. It's the best. I absolutely love it. And so what I want to do with this video is go back to kind of what was my 9 to 5 escape plan. How did I go from having to work for somebody to now I'm working for myself completely and making a full-time income? And one of the main reasons I want to do this is not to share my story, although I am going to do that, but I just think what I did was pretty smart. And I'm having people message me that are not being smart about working for themselves and quitting their job and all that. Like, I legit have had a kid hit me up who was living out of his car. And again, I don't mean to throw any shade by this, but the kid was living out of his car, didn't have money to eat, and wouldn't go get a job because he didn't like working for someone. Okay, let's break this down here. Well, let's just go back to so I want to address all that, but I want to do it through telling you how I went about things, and because I think that will be more helpful. So let's go back to the end of 2015, very beginning of 2016. I was still a college student. I was going to school full time, and I was also working full time. I had 2 part-time jobs that equated to full-time hours. One of those jobs was a bank teller at a credit union teller, and then the other job was a custodian on the campus I went to school at, cleaning carpets. And then aside from that, on top of that, I was also engaged and getting married. So it was a pretty busy time of my life, you could say. School full-time, working full-time, getting married. And then on the side of all that, I was also learning how to do online business and create my own income so that I could eventually quit my job and work for myself completely. Now, there's 2 things I want to touch on specifically here. One is, what are the reasons why I wanted to quit my job? What are the reasons why I wanted to work for myself? And 2, what was the plan? How exactly did I go about it and execute it? So number 1, and this is really important because I think a lot of people are very confused about this. I didn't want to work for myself because entrepreneurship was cool. I didn't want to work for myself because I wanted a Lamborghini. I didn't want to work for myself because Gary Vee's videos motivated me. I didn't even know who Gary Vee was back then. The reason that I wanted to get to the point of working for myself is because I felt that, and I believe a lot of you will share this, I think most humans do feel this, that there's potential inside of us, that there's skills, talents that we have, potential that's kind of untapped, undeveloped. And what I was realizing at these jobs I was working, and even as I was looking forward to once I graduated and got a job, I was still seeing kind of the same thing, but it was that there's just a cap, not necessarily a financial cap, although that too, but I was more concerned about a cap on my progression, a cap on my potential, because like I said, I personally have felt that there's a lot of potential inside me, that there's some skills and talents that if I work hard and develop them, that they can turn into some very, very cool things. And cleaning carpets, cool, got me some money to help me pay for school and all that, but obviously that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and that was not going to be a job that would help me progress to my fullest potential. Same thing with being a teller at a credit union. It was a good job, but to move up, it was really more a matter of memorizing procedures out of a binder. And again, while I was sitting there in those jobs, I just always felt that I always felt like there was I always wanted to do something where there was no limit to how much I could progress and develop. And in these 2 jobs, I definitely felt that. And as I was looking at jobs coming out of school, going and working for someone, I knew that was going to be similar as well. It doesn't have to always be that way, working for someone else, but chances are very, very high that's kind of going to be the case if you go get a job working for someone. And so ultimately what I wanted to accomplish was, number 1, complete freedom. I wanted to be free to do what I want, when I want, how I want, where I want, with who I want. Just complete freedom, which you don't have if you have to go into a job every single day and you have to work for someone else. The second reason is the one I just explained, which is potential. I wanted a way to forever chase my potential and develop my skills and talents. And so that was the goal with getting to the point of working for myself. Those are the reasons why I wanted to quit my job. I didn't want to quit my job just because I didn't want to have a job, right? Like, having a job is a good thing. Having a job is a huge blessing. There's countries all around the world where that doesn't happen, man. Like, people struggle for real. Even in America, man, people can have a hard time getting jobs, even though it's gotten a lot better. And if you don't have a job and you're in America, hit me up on a DM on Instagram. I'm going to talk to you about getting a job, because you shouldn't be jobless if you're in America. But the point I'm trying to get at is, like, I wasn't just foolishly like, oh, I just don't want a job, so I'm going to quit. No. I thought very thoroughly about what are the reasons why I don't want to work for someone else. Like, what are the reasons why I want to go do my own thing? Are they good reasons? And I believed yes. It wasn't because I was chasing a trend of entrepreneurship. It wasn't because I wanted other people to think I was cool. None of that. Deep inside of me, I wanted freedom for my life, and I wanted to be able to, and this is part of that freedom, but to chase my potential and develop that to its fullest. And so those are the reasons why I wanted to escape a 9-to-5 job. And if you're thinking about quitting your job, if you want to quit your job, if you want to try and make your own money, I urge you to very seriously consider why and what are the reasons behind that, and are those good reasons or are those bad reasons and stupid reasons. So I felt, and I know, that my reasons were good, solid reasons, and not just because I was, on a whim didn't want to work. Like, I wasn't being lazy. I wasn't trying to get out of having a job. Like, no, I wanted a job. I just wanted that job to be all on me and my own thing, so that I could be, like I said, so I could have the freedom to control everything and the freedom to develop my full potential. So now let's talk a little bit about what was my escape plan and how did I go about executing it. So like I said, I was working 2 part-time jobs, in school full-time, engaged, pretty busy. But on the side of that, I was trying to find ways to create my own money so that I could get to the point where I could quit my jobs and work for myself full-time. Now, that's a very important progression that I have seen people skip, which I do not think is smart. You should first figure out how to make your own money and do that several times over, proving to yourself that you know how to do it and can keep doing it, and then you should quit your job. And that's exactly what I did. So I was searching for ways to make money on my own, and I started kind of getting little design jobs, but it was like $100. Most maybe was $500. So that wasn't the kind of money that I needed to quit my jobs and be like, oh yeah, I'm self-employed now. And then I had a friend that introduced me to Kickstarter, and I ended up launching my first product on Kickstarter, which raised $50,000 in 30 days, and that was a $14,000 profit. So that was a big chunk of money, and I was like, oh wow, that was legit. Like that was some real money right there. And that was within 30 days. So I was like, that was really solid. But never in my mind was I like, now I'm quitting my jobs. To me, that was just the first sign, the first piece of evidence that I could actually go down this road and do these things. But inside of me, I was thinking, I need to do this 3, 4, 5 more times to really prove myself that I can do this on repeat. Because if I'm going to quit my jobs, and if I'm going to drop out of school and I'm going to work for myself, this isn't like, I need to be able to put this on repeat for the rest of my life. I can't just do 1 or 2 projects that pay me. I got to be able to do that over and over and over and over. And so that became important to me, to prove to myself, not to anyone else, I didn't care what anybody else thought, but just to prove to myself that I could do this over and over and over again. And so that's exactly what I did. First Kickstarter campaign, big success. Second Kickstarter campaign, success. Third Kickstarter campaign, got a client and launched their product on Kickstarter, success. Did another client, huge success, $215,000 in 30 days. At this point, I was like, all right, cool. Feeling pretty good about this. Still not dropping out of school, still not quitting my jobs yet. I had another client hit me up about a Kickstarter campaign, and he was selling on Amazon, and he started talking to me about selling on Amazon. And I was like, that sounds amazing. So I started doing research about how to sell products on Amazon, and I launched a product and started selling on Amazon. Okay. I launched then a second product because my first product wasn't necessarily the best. I launched a second product on Amazon, and that product started to take off. And this was the point where I decided, all right, I'm going to now, oh, and also I need to go back and say, inside of Kickstarter, I learned how to run Facebook ads and generate money with Facebook ads. So I learned Kickstarter, I learned Facebook ads, and I learned Amazon. So I felt and I'd made good money with all those. And so now I felt pretty comfortable that I could now quit my jobs. And so I did. And I also dropped out of school because school wasn't teaching me how to run Facebook ads or create products for Kickstarter campaigns or sell product on Amazon or employ myself. And I was paying for my own schooling by now. So at this point, successful Kickstarters, successful Facebook ads, successful Amazon product, I said to myself, all right, I'm gonna go do this thing for real now. But I had to prove to myself 4, 5, 6 times hundreds of thousands of dollars before I quit my 2 part-time jobs that were paying me like $12 an hour. Like, let that sink in. Like, look, and everybody, I'm not saying like you have to do it exactly how I did it, but what I'm saying is you should be smart about it, and you should prove to yourself and know for sure that you can do this on your own before you go quit your jobs. That is actually such a good thing to be able to have. Now, I'm not saying that you have to learn 3 different things. Like, it could have just been one. Like, I could have just done Kickstarters, and I could have built a Kickstarter agency where I kept servicing more and more clients, and all I did was just try and service clients. Or maybe all I did was launch my own products on Kickstarter. That was just like kind of the first thing I stumbled into. And me and my personality, like, I wanted to test and taste a little bit more and try my skills and make some efforts towards different things and kind of just see how that played out. That's a me thing. Like, I'm not saying that's going to be the best strategy for you, but what does need to be the strategy is proving to yourself multiple times that you can do it, that you can make money on your own before you quit your jobs, before you drop out of school. So I think that's about all I have to say. I just wanted to give that advice to actually, like, don't quit for the wrong reasons, and prove to yourself that you can actually make money on your own and then quit your job. If you do it in reverse, if you quit your job just hastily and then are like, oh, now I gotta make some money, you just put yourself in a tough position. You might come out of that great, and if you do, props. But again, like, so much better if you just prove it to yourself and then quit, because then you know how to do it and you're doing it and you're not in a difficult position. And I just want to emphasize one more time that you do have the time on the side of whatever else you're doing to start learning how to make your own money and start mastering that. Like I said, I was school full-time, I was working full-time, I was getting married. That's busy, that's a lot of time, but I was still able to carve out some time to start launching Kickstarter campaigns and learn Facebook ads. And you can do the very same thing. In fact, you're gonna have to do the very same thing. I cut out a lot of social. At that point, like, I didn't really care. Like, I had my girl, I was moving on. Like, so I wanted to get to the point where I could work for myself. So I made that the priority, cut out the time I needed in order to do that, and started doing that. There is the time though. Like, it's crazy to me when people are like, oh, I'm in school right now, I'll work on it when I'm out of school. I'm too busy, I'm in school, I can't. I'm just like, all right, if you say so. But I know I was in school, and I was working full time, and I was getting married, and I did it on the side, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And then I was able to quit my job, and I was able to drop out of school and just work for myself.